Everybody loves them, but I don't love coding them. Today we're going to let AI design charts so that I can spend my time analyzing game balance. Welcome to the second episode of Orbit Economica. It's time to get analytical. Up first are the AI Guild's fleets doing their job of selling high and buying low. The goal here is that each fleet should be going to a planet and purchasing resources that are cheap and plentiful on that planet. Then the fleet takes those resources and sells them at a different planet where those resources are expensive, and the cycle continues. It's all about supply and demand on a local level. Ideally, most AI fleets will be making hefty profits, with some guilds making more than others due to random distribution throughout the galaxy. Ideally, I want the AI to be making good profits and building out their own capabilities and fleet networks so that the player is challenged by strong rivals, making mid to late game enjoyable and well balanced. In the background, you can see me planning out how I am going to handle a logging system for tracking profitability on a per fleet basis. After I had that in place, it was just a matter of letting the game run for a few hundred turns and then exporting the logged data as a CSV file. Wait a minute, what are all those not a number errors in there? Oops. I guess the second benefit of analyzing what's actually happening is catching dumb bugs I have in my code. That was an easy fix. The AI was trying to make trades when it desired 0 of a resource. There, that's better. Just thousands and thousands of rows of economic data. Anyway, I hand over my logging code to Claude and ask it to create me a nice UI interface for analyzing the output data by uploading a CSV file into the artifact. Once it does so, after a few tweaks, I can then import the trade data and take a look at what's actually going on in the galaxy trade by trade. Here is the session data. You can see total turns recorded here to the upper right and the overall profit and loss for all the guilds over that time period. You'll notice that generally it has mean reverting properties where it's swinging up and down around the midline, which is intentional. The AI will build out more fleets and upgrade them when they are flush with cash, and scrap fleets if they go too far into the red for too long. Down here we can see profit per resource, and right away I'm seeing that this is off from what I was imagining. Luxury resources should be one of the best moneymakers for fleets where the profits are massive when traded well, and yet somehow it's both one of the most traded and worst losers for the guilds at the moment. In fact, the losses are so bad that every guild is in the red overall, not at all how the system is intended to be working. Digging into the relevant game logic, I came across my old code for determining cheap versus expensive goods on a planet and realized it was absolutely too simple, merely sorting goods by how cheap or expensive they were relatively, but with no absolute cutoffs to actually define what cheap or expensive even means. For example, if everything on a planet was expensive, it was still returning a list with the least expensive of the expensive goods at the top, for what should have been only objectively cheap goods. Luckily, I spotted this quickly and didn't spend too much time having to dig around in my more complex trading code. And, running it back with the new test, it looks much better. Of note, fleet components consume a lot of fuel and military goods, so as a guild grows larger and more powerful, those losses will likely look rough, meaning that the negative profit on military goods is not odd and is actually to be expected. To be honest, I'm more surprised that fuel is also not a negative. Perhaps something to consider is raising the base price on fuel if I want to hold the guilds down more or let the planets be more profitable. Another interesting nuance here is that the profit over time actually looks worse, even though per guild profits are now all in the green as they should be, so I think that it is coming down due to the guilds thriving and building out expensive war fleets with their spare cash. At the bottom, we can see that as I would expect, medical goods and industrial goods are the most profitable and the most traded across the entire galaxy. Medical goods are highly desired for population growth by planets, and industrial goods are a linchpin in many other recipes as both inputs and outputs. I'm quite pleased with the fleet balancing experiment as it let me catch some obvious issues in a fairly straightforward way. But fleets are only one half of the economic balance. The other critical half I want to study is industries, the primary drivers of resource production and consumption. The focus here is to be able to observe which industries are on average profitable versus which industries tend to be either unprofitable or only slightly profitable. Not all industries have to be fantastically great for their owners, but I don't want a key resource to be underproduced because it's not valuable enough or has too few use cases to make the industry unsustainable for anyone to keep open. Here I am laying out what I want to track, including industries being built, industries being closed, industries being expanded, and per-turn profitability of each kind of industry across the galaxy. Again, I coded my own logging system with CSV exports that observed when the AI was building versus closing industries and on average how profitable each of those industries were over time. I handed the logging code over to Claude and it created a nice front end for me to actually see my logging data from uploaded CSV files. What the front-end GUI shows us is profitability, closure rates, and average size at the end of tracking per industry type. Compared to fleets, the industry data had less surprises, but still a number of insights. You can see under profitability that fuel refineries are the slimmest margins by far, followed by biomass vats and commercial goods. Fuel's main use is selling to fleets at the moment, so it would be only greatly profitable for gas station planets, where many fleets are passing through all the time. If a planet is out in a spiral arm of the galaxy, a fuel refinery is likely going to be closed down due to too little volumes of fleets. This is reflected in the closure rates below, where fuel refineries are by far the most likely to be shut down. Industries that directly produce the goods that populations need to live, like food, energy, and water, are the most unlikely to be shut down due to their ability to directly sell to a growing population without any fleet offworlding required. Finally, average size per industry is pretty much what I would have expected, with some of the most profitable industries being above average and less profitable being smaller than average, reflecting good decision making from the AI on where to expand as their planet's populations grow over time. And that wraps up my initial analysis of the galactic economics of Orbit Economica. I will continue to use both of these tools to monitor any drastic changes I make to the economy code, and already they have helped me fix some of the major issues that I would not have caught through only playtesting. If you like what you saw here and want to see more, please make sure to subscribe. If you think Orbit Economica looks like a game you would enjoy, please wishlist on Steam. Link is in the description below. Thanks for watching!